Hello and welcome to a look at Shadow of the Beast 2 for the Amiga, a game that was made by Reflections and released by Psygnosis. By the number 2 it will probably indicate that it is a continuation slash sequel of the first game, which it happens to be. The plot: after the events of the first game, our hero manages to unbeastify himself and become human, which of course is a lovely, dory, fine and dandy, all that good stuff, except for the fact that the bad guy from the first game manages to revive, reconstitute, whatever you might call it, and is lightly pissed off by the fact that this upstart, former human, former beast thing, whatever, allowed himself to defy the master and defeat him in combat. So of course he wants to get even in some way, shape or form, and luckily for game plots, our hero happens to have a baby sister. Based on his own age, you would wonder how old the mother is, but details, let's not worry so much about those. Anyway, the bad guy, as you may have seen in the introduction if you are watching it, kidnaps the baby girl, and our hero decides that he should probably do something about it and goes out to try and locate and rescue her and beat the bad guy yet again. Yeah, a very loosely defined plot, but that is more or less on the plot of this game. That's all the plot you need for the purpose of this video. From a graphical point of view, the game is significantly darker than the first game. And by the way, here's the game over sequence. I just want to put it in because it's been overhyped by especially the developers themselves. I think it's, yeah, nothing overly special. Picture with some music, wow, cool. Anyway, the significantly darker tone, graphics-wise, than the first game, I think is very pleasing compared to the first game. But I also think that a lot of people have been too quick to give the graphics 10 out of 10. I don't think it is deserving of such a rating. It is definitely decent, but it is not necessarily spectacular. The scrolling is very smooth, the animation quality by and large is very high. And of course, gimmicky things like parallax scrolling, which is being emphasized 10 times over by developers and everyone else. It doesn't do anything for the game overall. It makes it look pretty, I suppose, but we are still relying on gameplay to make our games interesting, and not the graphical effects elements. With good gameplay, good graphics, improve things, but if the gameplay is not up to par, then the graphics cannot save it. The sound design. You play this game with sound effects and music, or nothing at all, and because you always have the music running, the sound effects are not necessarily inaudible, but they are relatively hard to hear compared to the music, and therefore very, very hard to read. Let's just say they're decent and move on. The music, not unlike the first game, is of a very, very high quality, and the compositions by and large are very, very good. Personally, I feel the title music is overrated, but that is a personal thing, and some people love it to bits and they are more than allowed to. I am not going to try and take that away from them. The in-game music is very, very nice. I do find the music is a bit short and loops relatively quickly, but because of the quality of the music, it doesn't actually feel repetitive, even though it is relatively repetitive. Control-wise, the character is moving as you expect him to move. Nothing seems out of place. Hit detection seems fairly accurate. No complaints in that regard. But the defining factor in a game should be the gameplay, and this game has significantly more gameplay than the first game, which a lot of people would probably argue wouldn't take much effort. The problem is the delivery of said gameplay. If you look at the bottom left side of the screen, you'll see a flask full of blood, which is your health. If that flask goes empty, you're dead. Hardly surprising. The thing is, for some bizarre reason, someone decided that any time you touch anything, your health should drain like a waterfall. Meaning that taking any damage of any kind is very, very punishing, and you constantly find yourself in positions where not taking damage is virtually impossible. Meaning that, because of course this is a trial and error game like the first game, you will have to do an awful lot of trials and make an awful lot of errors, and hopefully learn from them and try to progress until you bump into the next trial and error point, which will likely screw you over. Suffice to say, the difficulty level of this game is completely out of whack compared to what is expected of you as a player. This is probably why they left this in. Go and speak to the first guy, and if you can spell, you say what the level designer likely had taken aboard before balancing this game. We now have unlimited health. Hooray! Does it do anything for the game? Not much. There's a concept usually found in older adventure games called Dead Man Walking, and I will quickly explain what that entails. The concept of Dead Man Walking is when a player do something or do not do something in a game that prevents them from ever completing the game, and they are not necessarily in any way, shape or form made aware of it, meaning that the player can spend hours wandering around aimlessly, not knowing that something is not right. Suffice to say, I was very, very tempted to call this video Shadow of the Dead Man, but I decided not to do so. This game is chock full of those scenarios. You accidentally attack an NPC that needs to give you vital information, you're done. You don't see an enemy fly overhead and cut a rope that you need to get back to and use to progress You're done the game. You're done. Things like that keeps occurring, a wrong switch being hit, someone not spoken to, someone spoken to but you have no clue what you're supposed to say to them. All that kind of stuff adds to an extremely obnoxious and frustrating gaming experience. And playing without unlimited health is just compounding the issue. Having a trial and error game is fine and dandy, but the player needs to know where things went wrong. And this game is not particularly good at telling you if something went wrong and why it went wrong. It's more of a game than the first game, but it's not more playable. Sad to say. Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time. Bye bye for now.